Good day everyone, my name is James Ulpa. Today I will discuss Central America. The first country that we will discussing is Belize. The political system is the unitary. Since small country rang Belize, they opted for a unitary government. Parliamentary sa sila, therefore ang Prime Minister ang ilang head of state. Belize civilization spread into the area of Belize between 1500 BC to 1200 BC and flourished until about 1000 AD. Since part sa Upper Central America ang Belize, tapad sa Mexico, nasakop siya sa Mayans. Belize was the last British colony on the American mainland, achieving independence on September 21, 1981. Pero ang nakahatag yung impact sa ilang culture is ang British na nag-colonize sila until 1981. And the only country in the Central America with the Pacific Ocean, this unique location has influenced the country's identity, politics, as it shares cultural ties with both Caribbean and Central America. As we can see sa map sa Central America, ang Belize ang country na wala nakatouch sa Pacific Ocean. Belize is a multi-ethnic state with a diverse population. Like many countries sa Latin America, diverse sad kayo ang ethnicity and culture sa Belize. While Belize is a plural society, none of the major ethnic groups is sufficiently strong to dominate the others. More pluralistic sa sila, so walay kayo conflict regarding sa ethnicity. Party politics in Belize outs across of ethnic lines. And now, we will discussing a constitutional framework of Belize. Belize government is based on the British parliamentary system and bicameral National Assembly, members of the House, Senate, and nag-serve sila as a 5-year terms. The Governor General normally appoints a Prime Minister, so it means ang Prime Minister ang nag-appoint sa ilang Governor General. The Prime Minister appoints a Cabinet. Ang Prime Minister pod ang nag-appoint sa ilang Cabinet. And the next country is Costa Rica. Costa Rica is kanang gamay lang ni siya, so unitary sila kay gamay raman. So mura ra sila like Philippines nga kwan sila presidential, meaning presidential ang nag-head sa ilang state nang like sa tuwa president lang pod. So Costa Rica is located on the Central American Isthmus. So isthmus means nipis nga lands, as you will see sa mapa. So very hands-on sa sila sa environmental protection. So Costa Rica is a model of eco-stewardship with more than 25% of its territory preserved from development. So, the culture and traditions reveal their passion for democracy, freedom, and equality for all. So, in Costa Rica, compared sa other Latin countries, is known for being more peaceful gid sila. And it has 212 kilometers of Caribbean Sea coastline and 1,016 on the North Pacific Ocean. Costa Rica share 313 km and 194 miles border with Nicaragua to the north and 348 km border with the Panama to the south. As you can see sa map, nasa Central American Isthmus along with Panama. Like other Central American countries, nasa Pacific coastline and Caribbean coastline. So, Christopher Columbus first dropped anchor in Costa Rica in 1503. Famous for quote and unquote discovering America became one of the reason nga nung predominantly white ang Costa Rica ay nasakop man sila for years sa mga Europeans and particular Spain. So, representative from the principal minorities and particular Afro-Costa Ricans and indigenous peoples played an important role in contesting the erstwhile dominant narrative of Costa Ricans white European settlers' heritage. As you can see this chart, generally white ang population nila. However, through policies, kita-ensure gyapon nila ang dili ma-discriminate sa minorities. And And the next slide is the constitutional framework of El Salvador. So, ang political system nila is unitary, sa gamay ra sila, and presidential sad sila. So, executive power is exercised by president who is elected by popular vote. So, it means na ginabutuhan sila na sila election and serve as a non-renewable and 5 years term. The cabinet ministers and undersecretaries of state. So, legislative power is vested in a unicameral, popular elected National Assembly whose members serve 3 years terms. So, and the next is the judicial branch is composed of a Supreme Court Justice whose magistrates are selected by the National Assembly and other tribunals established by statute. And the next country is the Honduras. The constitutional framework of Honduras is the single house national congress is composed of 128 legislators elected to the 4 years term. So, nasa 4 years term nga mag-serve. So, governors are appointed by the president. The departments are divided into the municipalities. Rural areas are grouped into settlements. Localities may elect a mayor, a legal representative, and a council. Honduras has constitutionally been a democratic representative unitary state with power divided among the legislative, executive, and the judicial branches. The Supreme Courts exercise central control over the lower courts, including the appointment of justice, and has original and exclusive jurisdiction to declare acts of the legislative unconstitutional. And the next country is the Guatemala. And let's talk about the constitutional framework of Guatemala. Legislative power is delegated to a unicameral Congress whose members are elected 5 years term through direct popular suffrage. The Constitution adopted in 1968 defines the country as a sovereign democratic republic. So, executive power is vested in the president who is both the head of the government, so ang presidente ang head, and the head of the state, and the vice president, both of whom are also elected a 5 years term by popular vote. So makaserve sila 5 years term. And the last country of my report is Mexico. Political system is federal republic, and the government is a presidential republic. And Mexico is a country sa North America along with the USA and Canada. It's a big country, so they opted for a federalism para ang mga implement and ang pag-process sa law is dili inalisod. So Mexico is located at about 23 and 102 in the southern portion of the North America. Mexico total areas covers and 1,972,550 square kilometers, including approximately 6,000 square kilometers of island in the Pacific Ocean, Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean Sea, and Gulf of California. Mexico is bounded to the north by the United States, to the west and south by the Pacific Ocean, to the east by the Gulf of Mexico, and to the southeast by Belize, Guatemala, and the Caribbean Sea. Ang north kay US, west kay Pacific, east kay Gulf of Mexico, south kay Belize, Guatemala, and Caribbean Sea. So, let's look the indigenous people. The Mexico became part of the independent Mexico Empire in 1821. After the Mexican Revolution in 1910, a freely elected civilian government came to power. Mexico officially recognized its indigenous communities' struggle for collective rights and formal state recognition within the increasingly traditional Mexican society and neoliberal economy. After nila nakagain og independence for the Spaniards, nahimo silang empire from tiny Mexico City to grew siya into its own country ng dako kayog territory. Hands-on sa sila sa mga indigenous communities. So Mexico has a federal representative democratic republic with a multi-party system. However, corruption, drug trafficking, and organized crime have deeply affected its governance and political landscape. There have been efforts to address corruption and strengthen institutions, but progress has been slow. And the constitutional framework of Mexico is the federal republic composed of 31 state and federal district, like what I've said earlier. So, governmental powers are divided constitutionally between executive, legislative, and judicial branches. But when Mexico was under one-party rule in the 20th century, the president had strong control over the entire system. So, ang president nila ang nagakontrol. Popularly elected and limited to one 6-year term, the president is empowered to select a cabinet, the attorney general, diplomats, high-ranking military officer, and Supreme Court justice who serve a life terms. So, kuan sila 6 years term nga mag-serve. The president also has the right to issue reglamentos, executive decrees that have the elected of law because there is no vice president in the event of the death of the incapacity of the president. The legislature designates a provisional successor. And that would be all. Thank you for listening.